Sizwe Bansi is Dead, a play by Athol Fugard, John Carney, and Winston Nshona. Characters: Styles: Sizwe Bansi, Buntu. This play was given first performance on 8th October 1972 at the Space, Cape Town, and was directed by Athol Fugard with the following cast: Styles and Buntu. Sizwe Bansi. Sizwe Bansi is Dead. Styles Photographic Studio in the African township of New Brighton, Port Elizabeth, positioned prominently the name board. Styles Photographic Studio. Reference books, passports, weddings, engagements, birthday parties, and parties. Prop: Styles. Underneath this display of photographs of various sizes, center stage, a table and chair. This is obviously used for photographs because a camera on a tripod stand ready a short distance away. There is also another table or desk with odds and ends of photographic equipment and an assortment of props for photographs. The setting for this and subsequent scenes should be as simple as possible so that the actions can be continuous. Styles walks on with a newspaper. A dapper alert young man wearing a white dust coat and a bow tie. He sits down at a table and starts to read a paper. Reading the paper. Storm buffets Natal, damage in many areas. Trees snap like, what? Matchsticks? He laughs. They are having it, boy, and I'm watching it. In the paper. Turning the paper. Another headline. China, a question mark on Southwest Africa. What's China want there? Yo, they better be careful. China gets in there. Laughs. I'll tell you what happens. Stops abruptly. Looks around as if someone might be eavesdropping on his intimacy with the audience. No comment. Back to his paper. What's this? Ag. American politics. Nixon's and all his votes means beggarol to all. Another page, another headline. Car plants expansion. 1.5 million rand planned. Ja, I'll tell you what that means. More machines, bigger buildings, never any expansion to the pay packet. Makes me fed up. I know what I'm talking about. I worked at Ford one time. We used to read in newspaper big headlines. So and so from America or London made a big speech, going to see to it that the conditions of their non-white workers in Southern Africa were substantially improved. The talk ended in the bloody newspaper, never in the pay packets. Another time, we read Mr. Ford Jr. number 2, or whatever the hell he is visiting the Ford factories in South Africa. Shakes his head ruefully at the memory. Big news for us, man. When a big man like that visited the plant, there was usually a few cents more in the pay package at the end of the week. Ja, a Thursday morning, I walked into the plant. Hey, what's this? Everything was quiet. Those big bloody machines that used to make so much noise made my head go around. Silent. Went to the notice board and read, Mr. Ford's visit today, the one in charge of us. Laughs. Hey, I remember him. General Foreman, Mr. Buzz Bradley. Good man that one, if he knew how to handle him. He called us together. Styles mimics Mr. Buzz Bradley, a heavy African accent. Listen, boys, don't go to work on the line. There is going to be a general cleaning first. I used to like general cleaning. Nothing specific, you know. Little bit here, little bit there. But that day, yes, sis. In came the big machines with hot water and brushes sort of electric mop, and God alone knows what else. We started on the floor. The oil and dirt under the machines was thick, man. All the time, the bosses were walking around us watching, slapping their hands together as he urges the boys. Come on, boys, it's got to be spotless. Big day for the plant. Even the big boss, the one we only used to see lunchtime, walking to the canteen with a big cigar in his mouth and his hand in his pocket, That day, slaves rolled up, running around us. Come on, spotless, my boys. Over there, John, I thought. What the hell is happening? It was beginning to feel like hard work, man. I'm telling you, we cleaned that place post checked after 15 minutes. Thought it had just been built, like you would have first stage of general cleaning finished. We started the second. Mr. Buzz Bradley came in with paints and brushes. I watched. White line. Mr. Buzz Bradley painted a long white line on the floor. What's this? Been here 5 years and I've never seen a white line before. Then, Mr. Buzz Bradley had worked with a paintbrush. Careful this side. Tour motor in motion. Styles laughs. It was nice, man. Safety precautions after 6 years. Then another gallon of paint. Yellow line. No smoking in this area. Danger. Then another gallon. Green line. I noticed that the line cut off the rough casting section where we worked with the rough engine blocks as we got them from ISCO. Dangerous world that. Big machines. One big mistake there and you're in trouble. I watched them and thought, what's going on here? When the green line was finished, down they went to the floor. Mr. Buzz Bradley, the Lord, with a big green board, a little brush, and a thin and white paint, eye protection area. Then my big moment. Styles? Yes, sir. Mr. Brad Bradley, heavy African accent. What do you say in your language for this? Eye protection area. It was easy, man. Don't bloody fool me, Styles. No, sir. Then spell it slowly. Styles has a big laugh. Hey, that was my moment, man. Kneeling there on the floor. Foreman, general foreman, plant supervisor, plant manager, and Styles, standing, folds his arms as he acts out his part on the imaginary figures crouched on the floor. GQOKRA. And on I went, with Mr. Buzz Bradley painting and saying as he wiped away the sweat, "You're not fooling me, hey." After that, the green board went up. We all stood and admired it. Plant was looking nice, man. Colorful. Into the third phase of general cleaning. Styles? Yes, sir. Tell all the boys they must now go to the bathroom and wash themselves clean. We needed it. Into the bathroom, under the showers, hot water, soap, on a Thursday. Before then, yo, what's happening in the plant? The other chaps asked me, what's going on, Styles? I told them, big shots come from America, coming to visit you. When we finished washing, they gave us towels. Laughs. 300 of us, man. We were so clean we felt shy. Stand there like little ladies in front of the mirror. From there to the general store. Handed in dirty overalls. Throw it to the floor. Yes, sir. New overalls comes, wrapped in plastic. Brand new, man. I normally take a 38, but this one was a 42. Then, next door to the tool room. Brand new tool bag, set of spanners, shifting spanner, torque wrench, all of them brand new. And because I worked in the dangerous hot test section, I was given some new asbestos apron and fireproof gloves to replace the one I had lost about a year ago. I'm telling you, I walked back heavy to the spot. Armstrong on the moon. Inside the plant, it was general meeting again. General Foreman, Mr. Buzz Bradley, called me. Styles? Yes, sir. Come translate. Yes, sir. Styles pulls out a chair. Mr. Buzz Bradley speaks on one side. Styles translates on the other. Tell the boys in your language that this is a very big day in their lives. Gentlemen, this old fool says this is a hell of a big day in our lives. The men laughed. They are very happy to hear that, sir. Tell the boys that Mr. Henry Ford II, the owner of this place, is going to visit us. Tell them Mr. Ford is the big boss. He owns the plant and everything in it. Gentlemen, old Bradley says this Ford is a big bastard. He owns everything in this building, which means you as well. A voice came from the crowd. Is he a bigger fool than Bradley? They asked and said, is he bigger than you? Certainly. Blustering, certainly. He is a very big boss. He is a grouping for words. He's a Makulu boss. I love that one. Mr. Bradley says, most certainly. Mr. Ford is bigger than him. In fact, Mr. Ford is the grandmother boss of them all. That's what he said to me. Styles, tell the boys that when Mr. Henry Ford comes into the plan, I want them to all look happy. We'll slow down the speed of the line so that they can sing and smile while they're working. Gentlemen, he says that when the door opens, his grandmother walks in. You must see to it that you're wearing a mask of smiles. Hide your true feelings, brothers. You must sing the joyous songs of days of old before we had fools like this one next to me to worry about. To Bradley, yes, sir. Say to them, Styles, that they must try to impress Mr. Henry Ford, that they are better than those monkeys in his own country, those niggers in Harlem who know nothing but strike. Strike. Yo, I like this one too. Gentlemen, he says you must remember, when Mr. Ford walks in, that we are South African monkeys, not American monkeys. South African monkeys are much better trained. Before I could even finish, a voice was shouting out of the crowd, he's talking shit. I had to be careful. Several and full of smiles as he turned back to Bradley. No, sir. The men said they are much too happy to behave like those American monkeys. Right. Line was switched on nice and slow, and we started working. I'd work on the assembly line, singing. Shosholazo, shosholazo, kulezondawo. We had all the time in the world, man. Torque wrench out. Tighten the cylinder head nut. Wait for the next one. Singing. Viabalika, viabalika, kulenzodawo. I kept my eyes on the front office. I could see them. Mr. Brass Badley, the line supervisor, through the big glass window, brushing their hair, straightening their tie. There was some general cleaning going on there too. He laughed. We were watching them. Nobody was watching us. Even the old security guard, the one who every time he saw a black man walk past with his hands in his pocket, he saw another spark plug walk out of the plant. Today, to hell, and gone there on the other side polishing his black shoes. Then, through the window, I saw 3 long black galaxies zoom up. I passed the word down the line. He's come. Let me tell you what happened. The big doors opened. Next thing, the general superintendent, line supervisor, general foreman, manager, senior manager, managing director, the bloody lots were there, like a pack of puppies, mimicking a lot of founding men retreating before an important person. I looked and laughed. Yes, sirs, Styles, they are all playing your part today. They ran, man. In came the tall man, 6'6", hefty, full of respect and dignity. I marveled at him. Let me show you what he did. 3 enormous strides. 1, 2, 3. Casually look around as he turns and takes the same 3 strides back. 1, 2, 3. Out. Into the galaxy and gone. That's all. Didn't talk to me. Mr. Buzz Bradley, line supervisor, or anybody. He didn't even look at the plan. And what did I see when those 3 galaxies disappeared? The wise staff at the main switchboard. Double speed on the line. Make up the production loss. It ended up with us working harder the bloody day than ever before. Just because that big shakes his head. 6 years there. 6 years a bloody fool. Back to his newspaper. A few more headlines for appropriate comment. Then, reading. The mass murderer. Doom. Smile of recognition. For fleas. Doom. Flies. Doom. Bedbugs. Doom. For an other household pest. The household insecticide. Doom. Useful stuff. Remember, Styles. Jar. To the audience. After all the time at Ford, I sat down one day and said to myself, Styles, you're a bloody monkey, boy. What do you mean? You're a monkey, man. Go to hell. Come on, Styles, you're a monkey, man, and you know it. Run up and down the whole bloody day. Your life doesn't belong to you. You've sold it. For what, Styles? Gold wristwatch in 25 years' time. When they sign you off because you're too old for anything more? I was right. I took a good look at my life. What did I see? A bloody circus monkey selling most of his time on this earth to another man. Out of every 24 hours, I could only proudly call mine the sixth when I was sleeping. What the hell is the use of that? Think about it, friend. Wake up in the morning, 6:30, out of the pajamas and into the bathtub. Put on your shirt with one hand, socks with the other. Realize you got your shoes on the wrong bloody feet. And all the time, the seconds are passing, and if you don't hurry up, you'll miss the bus. Get a lunch, dear. I'm late. Please, darling. Then the children come in. Daddy, can I have this? Daddy, I want money for this. Go to your mother. I haven't got time. Look at the children, please. Sweetheart. Grab your lunch. Bye-bye. And then run like I don't know what for the bus stop. You call that leaving? I went back to myself for another chat. Suppose you're right. What then? Try something else. Like what? Silly question to ask. I knew what I was going to say. Photographer. It was my hobby in those days. I used to pick up a few cents on the side, taking cards at parties, weddings, big occasions. But when it came to telling my wife and parents that I wanted to turn professional, my father was the worst. You call that work? Click, click with a camera. Are you mad? I tried to explain. Daddy, if I could stand on my own 2 feet and not be somebody else's tool, I would have some respect for myself. I'll be a man. What do you mean? Aren't you one already? You're circumcised. You've got a wife. Talk about a generation gap. Anyway, I thought, to hell with them. I'm trying it. It was Christmas shutdown, so I had a lot of time to look around for a studio. My friend Lamini at a funeral parlor told me about a vacant room next door. He encouraged me. I remember his words. Grab your chance, Towels. Grab it before somebody in my line puts you in a box and closes the lid. I applied for permission to use a room as a studio. After some time, the first letter back. Your application has been received and has been considered. A month later, the matter is receiving serious consideration of the board. Another month, your application is now on the director's table. I nearly gave up, friends. But one day, a knock at the door. The postman. I had to sign for a registered letter. We are pleased to inform you. Styles has a good laugh. I ran the way to the administration offices, grabbed the key, ran all the way to red location, unlocked the store, and walked in. What I found sobered me up a little. Windows pane were all broken, big hole in the roof, cobwebs in the corners. I didn't let that put me off though. Said to myself, this is your chance, Styles. Grab it. Some kids helped me clean it out. The dust. Yo. When the broom walked in, the Sahara Desert walked out. But at the end of the day, it was reasonably clean. I stood there in the middle of the floor, straight. You know what that means. To stand straight in a place of your own. To be your own. General Foreman. Mr. Boss. Line Supervisor. The Lord. I was tall, 6'6", and doing my own inspection of the plant. So, I was standing there, here, feeling big, and what do I see on the walls? Cockroaches. Jar, cockroaches, in my place. I don't mean those little things all over the place when you pull out the kitchen drawer. I am talking about big bastards. The paratroopers as we call them. I didn't like them. I'm not afraid of them, but I just don't like them. All over, on the floors, on the walls. I heard the one on the wall say, what's going on? Who opened the door? The one on the floor answered, relax, he won't last. This place is condemned. That's when I thought, doom, out of here, into the Chinaman's shop. Good day, sir. I've got a problem. Cockroaches. The Chinaman didn't even think. Man, he just said, doom. I said, certainly. He said, doom, 75 cents a thing. Paid him for 2 and went back. Yo, you should have seen me. 2 thin Charlie. His 2 things are ready. 4 fingers on the press button. Styles gives a graphic reenactment of what happened. There's a brief respite to reload, shake the thing, and ties a handkerchief around the nose, after which he returns to the fight. Styles eventually backs through the imaginary door, still firing, and closes it, spins the thing, and pulls them into the holsters. I went home to sleep. I went to sleep. Not them, the cockroaches. What do you think happened here? General meeting under the floorboard. All the bloody survivors. The old professor addressed them. Brothers, we face a problem of serious pollution, contamination. The menace appears to be called doom. I have recommended a general inoculation of the whole community. Everybody in line, please. Inoculation proceeds. Next, next, next. While poor old Styles is smiling in his sleep. Next morning, I walked in. He stops abruptly. What's this? Cockroach walking on the floor? Another one on the ceiling. Not a damn. Doom did it yesterday. Doom does it today. Whips out the two things and goes in fighting. This time, however, it was not long before they peter out. Psst, psst, psst. A loud desperate shake, but he barely manages to get out of the skirt. Psst. No bloody good. The old bastard on the floor just waved their fellas in the air as if he was enjoying the air conditioning. I went next door to Dlamini and told him about my problem. He laughed. Doom? You're wasting your time, Styles. You want to solve your problem? Get a cat. What do you think a cat lives on in the township? Milk? If there's any, the baby gets it. Meat? When the family sees it once a week? Mice? The little boys got rid of them years ago. Insects, man. Township cats are insect eaters. Here. He gave me a little cat. I'm not too fond of cats normally. This one called Blackie, I wasn't too fond of the name either. But Kitsy, Kitsy, Kitsy. Little Blackie followed me back to the studio. The next, when I walked in, what do you think I saw? Wings. I smiled. Because one thing I do know is that no cockroach can take his wings off. He's dead. Proud gesture, taking in the whole of a studio. So here it is. To his name board, Styles Photographic Studio, reference books, passports, weddings, engagements, birthday parties and parties. Proprietor, Styles. When you look at this, what do you see? Just another photographic studio where people come because they have lost their reference book and need a new photo for a new one? That I sit them down, set up the camera, no expression, please, click, click, come back tomorrow, please, and then kick them out and wait for the next? No, friend, it's more than just that. This is a strong room of dreams. The dreamers, my people, the simple people, who you never find mentioned in the history books, who never get a statues erected to them, or monuments commemorating their great deeds, people who will be forgotten and their dreams with them if it wasn't for Styles. That's what I do, friends. Put down, in my way, on the paper, the dreams and hopes of my people, so that even their children's children will remember a man. This was our grandfather, and say his name. Walk into the houses of New Brighton, and on the walls, you'll find hanging the story of people the writers of the big books forget about. To his display board, this one, a photograph. Walked in here one morning. I was just passing the time. Midweek. Business was slow then. Anyway, a knock on the door. Yes, I must explain something. I get two types of knocks here. When I hear, knock solemn on the table, I don't even look up, man. Funeral parlor is next door. But when I hear, energetic rap on the table, he laughs. That's my sound. And I shout, come in. In walked a chap, full of smiles, little parcel under his arm. I can still see him, man. Styles asked both roles. Mr. Styles? I said, come in. Mr. Styles, I've come to take a snap. Mr. Styles, I said, sit down. Sit down, my friend. No, Mr. Styles, I want to take the snap Stanton. Barely containing his suppressed excitement and happiness. Mr. Styles, take the card, please. I said, certainly, friend. Something you mustn't do is interfere with a man's dream. If he wants to do a standing, let him stand. If he wants to sit, let him sit. Do exactly what they want. Sometimes they come in here, all smart in a suit, Then off comes the jackets and the shoes and socks. Adopts the boxer stands. Take it, Mr. Styles, take it. And I take it. No questions. Start asking stupid questions, and you destroy that dream. Anyway, this chap I'm telling you about, laughing warmly as he remembers. I've seen a lot of smiles in my business friends, but that one gets first prize. I set up my camera, and just as I was ready to go, wait, Mr. Styles, I want you to take the card with this. Out of his parcel came a long piece of white paper. Looked like some sort of document. He held it in front of him. Styles demonstrates. For once, I didn't have to say, smile. Just hold it and click. Finished. I asked him what the document was. You see, Mr. Styles, I am 48 years old. I worked 22 years for the municipality, and the foreman kept on saying to me, if I want promotion to boss baby, I must try to better my education. I didn't write well, Mr. Styles, so I took a course with the Damlin Correspondence College. 7 years, Mr. Styles, and at last, I made it. Here it is, Standard 6 certificate, school leaving, 3rd class. I made it, Mr. Styles. I made it. But I'm not finished. I am going to take up for the junior certificate, then matrix. And you watch, Mr. Styles. One day, I'll walk out of my house, graduate, self-made. Bye-bye, Mr. Styles. And he walked out of here happy man, self-made. Back to his display board, another photograph. My best, family card. You know the family card? Good for business. Lot of people, and they all want copies. One Saturday morning, suddenly, a hell of noise outside in the street. I thought, what's going on now? Next thing, the door burst open, and in they came. First, the little ones, then the 5 and 6-year-olds. I didn't know what was going on, man. Stupid children, coming to mess up my place. I was trying to chase them out, when the bigger boys and girls came through the door. Then it clicked. Family card. Changing his manner abruptly. Come in, ushering a crowd of people into his studio. Now, the young men and women were coming in, then the mothers and fathers, uncles and aunties, the eldest son, a mature man, and finally, shaking his head with admiration at the memory, the old man, the grandfather. The old walks slowly and with dignity into the studio and sits in a chair. I looked at him. His grey hair was a sign of wisdom, his face weather-beaten and lined with experience. Looking at it was like paging the volumes of his history, right by himself. He was a living symbol of life, of all it means and does to a man. I adored him. He sat there, half smiling, half serious, as if he had already seen the end of his road. The eldest son said to me, Mr. Styles, this is my father, my mother, my brothers and sisters, their wives and our children. 27 of us, Mr. Styles. We have come to take a card. My father, he pointed to the old man. Father always wanted it. I said, certainly. Leave the rest to me. I went to work. Another graphic reenactment of the scene as he describes it. The old lady here, the elder son there, then the other one with the other one. On this side, I did something with the daughters, aunties, and one bachelor brother. Then in front of it all, the 8 to 12, standing in front of them, the 4 to 7, kneeling, and finally, right on the floor, everything that was left, sitting. Jesus, it was hard work, but finally, I had them all sorted out, and it went behind the camera. Behind his camera, just starting to focus. Imaginary child in front of the lens. Styles chairs the child, hugs to the family group. Sit down, sit down. Back to the camera. Start to focus again. Not one of them was smiling. I tried the old trick. Say cheese, please. At first, they just look at me. Come on, cheese. The children were the first to pick it up. Child's voice. Cheese, cheese, cheese. Then the next lot. Cheese. The uncles and aunties. Cheese. And finally, the old man himself. Cheese. I thought the roof was going off, man. People outside in the street came and looked through the window. They joined in. Cheese? When I looked again, the mourners in the funeral parlor were there wiping away their tears and saying, Cheese? Press my little bottom, and it was. New Brighton smile. 27 variations. Don't you believe those bloody fools who make out we do not know how to smile? Anyway, you should have seen me then. Move the bachelors this side, sister-in-laws that side. Put the elder son behind the old man. Reorganize the children. Back behind his camera. Once again, please. Cheese? Back to work. Old woman together. Daughters behind them. Sons on the side. Those that were kneeling, now standing. Those that were standing, now kneeling. Different. 10 times friends. Each time different. An exhausted Styles collapses in a chair. When they walked out finally, I almost said never again. A week later, the elder son came back for the cards. I had them ready. The moment he walked through the door, I could see he was in trouble. He said to me, Mr. Styles, we almost didn't make it. My father died 2 days after the card. He will never see it. Come on, I said. You're a man. One day or the other, every one of us must go home. Here, I grabbed the cards. Here, look at your father, and thank God for the time he has given him on this earth. We went through them together. He looked at them in silence. After the third one, the tear went slowly down his cheek. But at the same time, I was watching him carefully. Something started to happen as he saw his father there with him, his brothers and sisters, and all the little grandchildren. He began to smile. That's it, brother, I said. Smile. Smile at your father. Smile at the world. When he left, I thought of him going back to the little house somewhere in New Brighton, filled that day with the little mothers and blacks because a man had died. I saw many cards passing from hand to hand. I saw hands wipe away tears, and then the first timid little smiles. You must understand one thing. We owe nothing except ourselves. This world and its laws allow us nothing except ourselves. There is nothing we can leave behind when we die except the memory of ourselves. I know what I'm talking about, friends. I had a father, and he died. To the display board, here he is, my father. That's him. Fought in the war, Second World War. Fought at Tobruk in Egypt. He fought in France so that this country and all others could stay free. When he came back, they stripped him at the docks. His guns, his uniform, the dignity. They had allowed him for a few mad years because the world needed men to fight and be ready to sacrifice themselves for something called freedom. In return, they let him keep his koftan and gave him a bicycle, size 28. I remember because it was too big for me. When he died, in a rotten old suit among some of his old rags, I found that photograph. That's all. That's all I have from him. The display board again. Mrs. Matolana used to stay in Sangocha Street. You remember? Her husband was arrested. Knock at the door. Tell you about it later. Come in. A man walks nervously into the studio, dressed in an ill-fitting new double-breasted suit. He is carrying a plastic bag with a hat in it. His manner is hesitant and shy. Styles takes one look at him and breaks into an enormous smile. An aside to the audience. A dream. To the man, come in, my friend. Mr. Styles? That's me. Come in. You have come to take a card? Snap. Yes, a card. Have you got a deposit? Yes. Good. Let me just take your card name down. You see, you pay deposit now, and when you come for the card, you pay the rest. Yes. To his desk and a black book for names and addresses. What is your name? The man hesitates, as if he is not sure of himself. Your name, please. Pause. Come on, my friend. You must surely have a name. Pulling himself together, but still very narrow. Robert Zolinzima. Writing. Robert Zolinzima. Address. Swallowing. 50 Mapija Street. Right. Then pauses. 50 Mapija. Yes. You're staying with Buntu? Buntu. Very good somebody that one. Came here for his wedding card, always helping people. If that man was white, they'll call him a liberal. Now finished writing, back to his customer. Alright, how many cards do you want? One card. Disappointed. Only one? One. How do you want to take the card? The man is not sure of what the question means. You can take the card standing. Star strikes a stylish pose next to the table. Sitting. Another pose, this time in the chair. Anyhow, how do you want it? Anyhow. Right, sit down. Robert hesitates. Sit down. Styles fetches a vase with plastic flowers, dusts them off, and places them on the table. Robert holds up his plastic hat. What you got there? Out comes the hat. Aha! Stetson, put it on, my friend. Robert handles it shyly. You can put it on, Robert. Robert pulls it on. Styles does up one of his jacket button. What a beautiful suit, my friend. Where did you buy it? Sales house. Quoting a sales slogan. Where the black wall buys the best. 6 months to pay. Pay as you wear. Not just Robert. And they never repossess. They share a smile. What are you going to do with the card? Chatting away as he goes to his camera and sets it up for the photo. Robert watches the preparation apprehensively. Send it to my wife. Your wife? No way to. Where's your wife? King Williamstown. Exaggerated admiration. At last, the kind of man I like. Not one of those foolish young boys who come here to find work and then forget their families back home. A man with responsibility. Where do you work? Feltex. I hear they pay good there. Not bad. He is now virulent, staring fixedly at the camera. Styles straightens out behind it. Come on, Robert. You want your wife to get a card with a husband looking like he has got all the worries in the world on his back? What will she think? My poor husband is in trouble. You must smile. Robert shamefacedly relaxes a little and starts to smile. That's it. He relaxes still more, beginning to enjoy himself, and certainly produces a fancy pipe from one of his pockets. Styles now really warming to the assignment. Look, have you ever walked down the passage to the office with a big glass door and a board outside? Manager Bestruda, imagine it, man. You, Robert Zolinzima, behind the desk in an office like that. It can happen. Robert, quick promotion to chief manager. I'll show you what we do. Styles produces a Phillips classroom map of the wall, which he hangs behind the table as a backdrop to the photo. Look at it, Robert. America, England, Africa, Russia, Asia. Carried away, still further by his excitement, Styles finds a cigarette, lights it, and gives it to Robert to hold. The latter is now ready for the cut pipe in one hand and a cigarette in the other. He stands behind the camera and admires his handiwork. Mr. Robert Zolinzima, chief manager at Feltex, sitting at his office with a wall behind him. Smile, Robert, smile. Studying his subject through the viewfinder of the camera. Lower your head, Robert, towards the ashtray. More. Now make a fall with your legs. He demonstrates behind the camera. Robert crosses his legs. Hold it, Robert. Keep on smiling. That's it. Presses the release button. The shutter clicks. Beautiful. All right, Robert. Robert and his smile remain frozen. You can relax now. It's finished. Finished? Yes. You just want one card? Yes. What happens if you lose it? Hey, I've heard stories about those postmen, Robert. Yo, sit on the side of the road and open the letters they should be delivering. Dear wife, one run this side, letter thrown away. Dear wife, another run this side, letter thrown away. You want that to happen to you? Come on, what about a movie, man? Movie? Do you know the movies? No. Simple. Just walk and see. At a certain point, freezes and mistride. And I take the card. Then you can write to your wife. Dear wife, I am coming home at Christmas. Put the card in your letter and post it. Your wife opens the letter, and what does she see? Her Robert walking home to her. She shows it to the children. Look, children, your daddy is coming. The children jump and clap their hands. Daddy is coming. Daddy is coming. Excited by the picture Styles has conjured up. All right, you want a movie? I want a movie. That's my man. Look at this, Robert. Styles reverses the map hanging behind the table to reveal a gaudy painting of a futuristic city. City of the future. Look at it, Mr. Robert Zolinzima. Man about town, future head of Feltex, walking through the city of the future. Examining the backdrop with admiration, he recognizes a landmark. Okay, Bazaars. The other buildings. Mutual Building Society. Barclays Bank. The Lot. What are you looking for, Robert? Feltex. Yes. Well, you see, I couldn't fit everything on Robert. But if I'd had enough space, Feltex would have been there. To a stable. To a stable for props. Walking stick. Newspaper. Diffidently. I don't read. That's not important, my friend. You think all those monkeys carrying newspapers can read? They look at the pictures. After dressing Robert with the props, he moves back to his camera. This is going to be beautiful, Robert. I must send one to the magazines. All right, Robert. Now move back. Remember what I showed you. Just walk towards me, and right in front of the city of the future, I'll take the picture. Ready? Now come, Robert. Pipe in mouth, walking stick in hand, newspaper under the other arm. Robert takes a jaunty step and then freezes, as Styles has shown him earlier. Come, Robert. Another step. Just one more, Robert. Stop. Hold it. Robert, hold it. The camera flash goes off. Simultaneously, a blackout, except for the light on Robert, frozen in the pose that will appear in the picture. We are in fact looking at a photograph. It comes to life and dictates a letter that will accompany it to Noweto in King Williamstown. Noweto, correcting himself. Dear Noweto, I've got wonderful news for you in this letter. My troubles are over, I think, but you won't believe it. But I must tell you, Sizwe Bansi, in a manner of speaking, is dead. I'll tell you what I can. As you know, when I left the railway compound, I went to stay with a friend of mine called Zola, a very good friend that Noweto. In fact, he was even trying to help me find some job. But that's not easy, Noweto, because Port Elizabeth is a big place, a very big place, with lots of factories, but also lots of people looking for jobs like me. There are so many men, Noweto, who have left their places because they are dry and have come here to find work. After a week with Zola, I was in big trouble. The head man came around, and after a lot of happenings, which I'll tell you when I see you, they put a stamp on my passbook, which said, I must leave Port Elizabeth at once, in 3 days' time. I couldn't stay with Zola because if the headman found me there again, my troubles would be even bigger. So, Zola took me to a friend of his called Buntu and asked him if I could stay with him until I decided what to do. Buntu's house in New Brighton, table and 2 chairs. Robert, in a direct continuation of the preceding scene, is already there. As Buntu's jacket, slack over his shoulder, walks in, holds out his hand to Robert. Hi, Buntu. They shake hands. Sizwe Bansi. Sit down. They sit. Zola told me you were coming. Didn't have time to explain anything. Just asked if you could spend a few nights here. You can perch yourself on that sofa in the corner. I'm alone at the moment. My wife is a domestic. Sleep in Kabija Park. Only comes home weekends. Hot today. Hey. In the course of this scene, Buntu will busy himself first by having a wash basin, a jug of water, and then, by changing from his work clothing, preparatory to go out, Sizwe Bansi stays in the chair. What's the problem, friend? I've got no permit to stay in Port Elizabeth. Where do you have permit to stay? King Williamstown. How did they find out? Tells the story with hesitation and uncertainty of the illiterate. When words fail him, he tries to use his hand. I was staying with Zola, as you know, I was very happy there. But one night, I was sleeping on the floor. I heard some noises, and when I looked up, I saw torches shining in through the window. Then there was a loud knocking on the door. When I got up, Zola was there in the dark. He was trying to whisper something. I think he was saying I must hide, so I crawled under the table. The head man came in and looked around and found me hiding under the table. He dragged me out. Raid? Yes, it was a raid. I was just wearing my pants. My shirt was lying on the other side. I just managed to grab it as they were pushing me out. I finished dressing in the van. They drove straight to the administration office, and then, from there, they drove to the labor bureau. I was made to stand in the passage there, with everybody looking at me and shaking their heads like they knew I was in big trouble. Later, I was taken to an office and made to stand next to the door. The white man behind the desk had my book and also looked at me and shook his head. Just then, one other white man came in with a card. A card? He was carrying a card. Pink card? Yes, the card was pink. Record card? Your whole bloody life is written down on that. Go on. Then the white man started writing something on the card. And just then, somebody came in carrying a demonstrates what he means by banging a clenched fist on the table. A stamp? Yes, a stamp. Repeats the action. He was carrying a stamp. And then he put it on my passbook. Let me see your book. Sizwe Bansi produces his passbook from the back pocket of his trousers. Buntu examines it. Shit, you know what this is? The stamp. I can't read. Listen. Reads, you are required to report to the Buntu Affairs Commissioner, King Williamstown, within 3 days of the above-mentioned date for the You should have been home yesterday for the purpose of repatriation to home district. Influx control. You're in trouble, Sizwe. I don't want to leave Port Elizabeth. Maybe. But if that says go, you go. Can't I maybe bend this book and get a new one? Bend that book? Stop kidding yourself, Sizwe. Anyway, suppose you do. You must immediately go apply for a new one, right? Until that new one comes, be careful the police don't stop you and ask for your book. Into the courtroom. Brother. Charge. Failing to produce reference book on demand. 5 rand or 5 days. Finally, the new book comes. Down to the Labor Bureau for a stamp. It's got to be endorsed with the permission to be in this area. White man at the Labor Bureau takes the book, looks at it, doesn't look at you, goes to the big machines and feed in your number. Buntu goes through the motion of punching out a number on a computer. Card jumps out. He reads, Sizwe Bansi, endorsed to King Williamstown, takes your book, fetches that same stamp, and in it goes again. So you bend that book or throw it away and get another one. Same thing happens. Buntu feeds the computer. The card jumps out. Sizwe Bansi, endorsed to King Williamstown. Stamp goes in the 3rd time, but this time it's also a van and off to the Native Commissioner office. Card around your neck with your number on it. Escorts on both sides and back to King Williamstown. They make you pay for the train fare too. I think I will try to look for some jobs in the garden. You? Job as a garden boy? Don't you read a newspaper? I can't read. I'll tell you what the little white ladies say. Domestic vacancies. I want a garden boy with good manners and a wide knowledge of seasons and flowers. Book in order. Yours in order? Anyway, what the hell do you know about seasons and flowers? After moments of thought, do you know any white man who is prepared to give you a job? No, I don't know any white man. Pity. We might have been able to work something then. You talk to the white man, you see, and ask him to write a letter saying he's got a job for you. You take that letter to the white man and go back to King Williamstown, where you show it to the native commissioner there. The native commissioner in King Williamstown reads that letter from the white man in Port Elizabeth, who is ready to give you a job. He then writes a letter back to the native commissioner in Port Elizabeth. So you come back here with the 2 letters. Then the native commissioner in Port Elizabeth reads a letter from the native commissioner in King Williamstown, together with the first letter from the white man who is prepared to give you a job. And he says, when he reads the letter, ah yes, This man, Sizwe Bansi, can get a job. So the native commissioner in Port Elizabeth then writes a letter which you take with the letters from the native commissioner in King Williamstown and the white man in Port Elizabeth to the senior officer at the Labour Bureau who reads all the letters. Then he will put a right stamp on your book and give you another letter from himself, which together with the letters from the white man and the two native affairs commissioner, you take to the administration office here in New Brighton and make an application for residence permit so that you don't fall victim of raid again. Simple. Maybe I can start a little business selling potatoes and where do you get the potatoes and I'll buy them. With what? Borrow some money. Who is going to lend money to a somebody endorsed to hell and gone out in the bush? And how are you going to buy the potatoes at the market without a hawker's license? Same story, Sizzy. You won't get that because of the bloody stamp in your book. There's no way out, Sizzy. You are not the first one who was trying to find out. Take my advice and catch the train back to King Williamstown. If you need work so bad, go knock on the doors of the mines recruiting office. Dig gold for the white man. That's the only time they don't worry about influx control. I don't want to work on the mines. There's no money there, and it's too dangerous under the ground. Many black men get killed when the rocks fall. You can die there. Stirred by the last remark into taking possibly his first real look at Susie. You don't want to die? I don't want to die. Stops whatever he's doing to sit down and talk to Susie with an intimacy that was not there before. You married, Susie? Yes. How many children? I've got 4 children. Boys? Girls? I've got 3 boys and a girl. Schooling? 2 are schooling, the other 2 stay at home with their mother. Your wife is not working? The place where we stay is 50 miles from town. There's only one shop there. Bas Van Wyk. He has already got a woman working for him. King Williamstown is a dry place, Mr. Buntu. Very small and too many people. That is why I don't want to go home. Ag, friend. I don't know. I'm also married. 1 child. Only 1? Ja, my wife attends this birth control clinic rubbish. The child is staying with my mother. Shakes his head. Hi, Susie. If I had to tell you the trouble I had before I could get the right stamp in my book, even though I was born in this area, the trouble I had before I could get a decent job, born in this area, the trouble I had to get this 2-room house, born in this area. Why is there so much trouble, Mr. Buntu? 2 weeks back, I went to a funeral with a friend of mine. Outside in the country, an old relative of his passed away. Usual thing. Sermons in the house, sermons in the church, sermons at the graveside. I thought they were never going to stop talking. At the graveside service, there was one fellow, a lay preacher, short man, neat little mustache, wearing one of those old-fashioned double-breasted black suits. Hi. He was wonderful. While he talked, he had a gesture with his hand, like this, that reminded me of our youth. When we learned to fight with Kairos, his text was, going home. He handled it well, Susie. Started by saying that the first man to sign the death contract with God was Adam, when he sinned in Eden. Since that day, wherever man is, or whatever he does, he is never without his faithful companion, death. So with Uta Jacob, the dead man's name, he has at last accepted the terms of his contract with God. But in his life, friend, he walked the road of this life. He outrained those footpaths which lay through the bush and over the vale, footpaths which his children are now walking. He worked on farms from this district down to the coast and north as far as Pretoria. I knew him. He was a friend. Many people knew Uta Jacob. For a long time, he worked with Bas van der Waals. But when the old man died, his young son Hendrik said, I don't like you. Go. Uta Jacob picked up his load and put it on his shoulder. His wife followed. He went to the next farm, through the fence, up to the house. Work, please, Bas. Bas Projita took him. He stayed a long time there too, until one day, there was trouble between Madame and his wife. Jacob and his wife were walking again. The load on his back was heavier. He wasn't so young anymore, and there were children behind him now as well. On to the next farm, no work. The next farm, no work. Then the next one. A little time there, but a drought had come, and the farmer said, "Sorry, Jacob, the cattle are dying. I'm moving to the city." Jacob picked up his load yet again. So it went, friends, on, until he arrived there. The grave at his feet, now at last, is over. No matter how hard as the boy on the farm wants to be, he cannot move Uta Jacob. He has reached home. Pause. That's it, brother. The only time we'll find peace is when they dig a hole for us and press our face into the earth. Putting on his coat. To hell with it. If we go on like this much longer, we'll do the digging for them. Changing his tone. You know Sky's place? Susie. No. Come, let me give you a treat. I'll do you there. As at Buntu. Blackout, except for a light on Susie. He continues his letter to Noweto. Sky's place? Shakes his head and laughs. Hey Noweto, when I mention that name again, I get a headache. The same headache I had when I woke up in Buntu's place the next morning. You won't believe what it was like. You cannot. It will be like you walking down the Pickering Street in King Williamstown and going into Kokemu's cafe to buy bread. And what do you see sitting there at a smart table and chairs? Your husband, Sizwe Bansi, being served ice cream and cold drinks by old Mrs. Kokemo herself. Such would be your surprise if you had seen me at Sky's place. Only the wearing 7 cold drinks and ice cream. No, first-class booze, Noweto. It wasn't old Mrs. Kokemo serving me, but a certain lovely and beautiful lady called Mrs. Nkoyemi. And it wasn't just your husband, Sizwe Bansi, sitting there with all the most important people in New Brighton, but Mr. Bansi. He starts to laugh. Mr. Bansi. As the laugh gets bigger, Sizwe rises on his feet. The street outside, sky shipping in New Brighton. Our man is amiably drunk. He addresses the audience. Do you know who I am, friend? Take my hand, friend. Take my hand. I am Mr. Bansi, friend. Do you know where I come from? I come from Sky's place, friend. A most wonderful place. I met everybody there. Good people. I've been drinking, my friend. Brandy, wine, beer. Don't you want to go in there, good people? Let's all go to Sky's place. Shouting, Mr. Buntu! Mr. Buntu! Buntu enters, shouting goodbye to friends at the shebeen. He joins Sizwe. Buntu, no, not drunk, is also amiably talkative under the influence of a good few drinks. Discovering the audience. Hey, where did you get all these wonderful people? I just found them there, Mr. Buntu. Wonderful. I'm inviting them to Sky's place, Mr. Buntu. You tell them about Sky's? I told them about Sky's place, Mr. Buntu. To the audience, we have been having a time there, man. They know it. I told them everything. Laughing. Sizwe, we had our fun there. Hey, remember that member of the advisory board? Hey, Mr. Buntu, you know I respect you, friend. You must call me nice. What do you mean? Clumsy dignity. I'm not just Sizwe no more. He might have walked in, but Mr. Bansi walked out, playing along. I am terribly sorry, Mr. Bansi. I apologize for my familiarity. Please don't be offended. Handing over one of the 2 oranges he's carrying. Allow me, with the compliments of Miss Nkoyemi, taking the orange with a broad but sheepish grin. Miss Nkoyemi. Sweet dreams, Mr. Bansi. Tears the orange with a stamp and starts eating it messily. Lovely day, Mr. Buntu. Leaves Susie with a laugh to the audience. Back there in the shebeen, a member of the advisory board, he comes from King Williamstown. He goes up to Susie. Tell me, Mr. Bansi, what do you think about Siskian independence? Interrupting. Ja, I remember that one. Bloody minister member of the advisory board talking about Siskian independence. To the audience, I must tell you, friend, When a car passes or the wind blows up the dust, Siskian independence makes you cough. I'm telling you, friend, put a man in a pondok and call that independence? My good friend, let me tell you, Siskian independence is shit. Or that other chap, old Jalobi, the fat tycoon man. To the audience, come to me, pompous voice. Your friend, Mr. Bansi, is he on an official visit to town? No, I said, Mr. Bansi is an official walkout. Buntu thinks this is a big joke. Stubbornly, I'm here to stay. Looking at his watch, hey Sizwe, reproachfully, Mr. Buntu. Correcting himself, Mr. Bansi, it is getting late. I've got to work tomorrow. Care to lead the way, Mr. Bansi? You think I can't? You think Mr. Bansi is lost? I didn't say that. You're thinking it, friend. I'll show you. This is Chenga Street. Very good. But which way do we go? Setting off. This way. Pulling him back. Mistake. You're heading for sight and service and a lot of trouble with the Tutsis. The opposite direction. That way. Lead on. I'm right behind you. Ja, you're right, Mr. Buntu. There's a New World High School. Now, think carefully. When we're going to Skies, we had New World in front. So when we leave Skies, we put New World behind. Very good. An appropriate change in direction. They continue walking and eventually arrive at a square with roads leading off in many directions. Sizwe is lost. He wanders around, uncertain of the direction to take. Hi, Mr. Buntu. Bizweni Square. Crossroads to hell. Wait, closer look at landmark. That building. Rio Cinema. So we must. Rio Cinema? With a white cross on top, bell outside, and a big show on Sundays. Sheepishly, you're right, friend. I've got it, Mr. Buntu. That way. He starts off. Buntu watches him. King Williamstown, 150 miles. Don't forget to write. Hurried about 10. Hi. Hi. Okay, Sizwe, I'll take over from here. But I'll just hang on for a second. I want to have a piss. Don't move. Buntu disappears into the dark. Hi, Sizwe. You're a country fool, leading Mr. Buntu and Mr. Bansi astray. You think you know this place, New Brighton? You know nothing. Buntu comes back running. Urgently, let's get out of here. Wait, Mr. Buntu. I'm telling that fool Sizwe. Come on, there's trouble there. Pointing in the direction from which he has come. Let's move. Wait, Mr. Buntu. Wait, let me first tell that Sizwe. There's a dead man lying there. Dead man? I thought I was pissing on a pile of rubbish, but when I looked carefully, I saw it was a man. Dead. Covered in blood. Toasters might have got him. Let's get the hell out of here before anybody sees us. Buntu. Buntu. Listen to me, Sizwe. The Toasters might still be around. Buntu. Do you want to join him? I don't want to join him. Then come. Wait, Buntu. Jesus, if Zola had told me how much trouble you were going to be. Buntu, we must report that man to the police station. Police station? Are you mad? You drunk? Passbook in order? We've come to report a dead man. Sergeant, grab them. Case closed. We killed him. Mr. Buntu, we can't leave him. Please, Sizwe. Wait, let's carry him home. Just like that, walk through New Brighton Street at this hour carrying a dead man. Anyway, we don't know where he stays. Come. Wait, Buntu, listen. Sizwe. Buntu, we can know where he stays. That passbook will talk. It talks, friend. Like mine, his passbook will tell us. After a moment's desperate hesitation, you really want to land me in this shit? Hey. Disappears into the dark again. It will tell you in good English where he stays. My passbook talks good English too. Big words that Susie can't read and doesn't understand. Susie wants to stay here in New Brighton and find a job. Passbook says no, report back. Susie wants to feed his wife and children. Passbook says no, endorsed out. Susie wants to. Buntu reappears, a passbook in his hand, looks around furtively, and moves to the light under a lamppost. They never told us it would be like this when they introduced it. They said, Book of Life, your friend. You will never get lost. They told us lies. He joins Buntu, who is examining the book. Hi, look at him, the photograph in the book. Reading, Robert Zolinzima, Tribe, Sosa, Native Identification Number. Where does he stay, Buntu? Paging through the book, worked in Dorman, long 7 years, Kilometer Engineering, 8 months, Anderson Hardware, 2 years, now unemployed. Hey, look, Susie, here's one up on you. He's got a work seeker's permit. Where does he stay, Buntu? Lodger's permit at 42 Ndala Street, from where the Sangocha Street, now at. Pause. Close the book abruptly. To hell with it. I'm not going there. Where, Buntu? Emphatically, I am not going there. Buntu, you know where he is staying now? Single men's quarters. If you think I'm going there this time of the night, you got another guest coming. Susie doesn't understand. Look, Susie, I stay in a house. There's a street and a number. Easy to find. Ask anybody. Mapija Street. That way, you know what single men's quarters is. Big bloody concentration camp with rows of things that look like train carriages. 6 doors to each. 12 people behind each door. You want me to go there now? Knock on the first door. Does Robert Zolinzima live here? No. Next door. Does Robert's? Bugger off. We're trying to sleep. Next door. Does Robert Zolinzima? They'll fuck us up, man. I'm putting this book back and we're going home. Buntu, halfway back to the alleyway. What? Would you do that to me, friend? If the tortoise had stabbed Susie and left him lying there, would you walk away from him as well? The accusation stabs Buntu. Would you leave me lying there, wet with your piss? I wish I was dead because I don't care a damn about anything anymore. Turning away from Buntu to the audience. What's happening in this world, good people? Who cares for who in this world? Who wants who? Who wants me, friend? What's wrong with me? I'm a man. I've got eyes to see. I've got ears to listen when people talk. I've got a head to think good things. What's wrong with me? Starts to tear off his clothing. Look at me. I'm a man. I've got legs. I can run with a wheelbarrow full of cement. I'm strong. I'm a man. Look, I've got a wife. I've got 4 children. How many has he made, lady? The man sitting next to her. Is he a man? What has he got that I haven't? A thoughtful Buntu rejoins them, the dead man's reference book still in his hand. Let me see your book. Susie doesn't respond. Give me your book. Are you a policeman now, Buntu? Give me your bloody book, Susie. Handing it over. Take it, Buntu. Take this book and read it carefully, friend, and tell me what it says about me. Buntu, does that book tell you I'm a man? Buntu studies the 2 books. Susie turns back to the audience. That bloody book. People, do you know? No. Wherever you go, it's that bloody book. You go to school, it goes to. Go to work, it goes to. Go to church and pray and sing lovely hymns, it sits there with you. Go to the hospital to die, it lies there too. Buntu has collected Susie's discarded clothing. Come. Buntu's house, as earlier, table and 2 chairs. Buntu pushes Susie down into a chair. Susie, still muttering, starts to struggle back into his clothing. Buntu opens the 2 reference books and places them side by side on the table. He produces a pot of glue, then, very carefully, tears out the photograph of each book, a dab of glue on the back of each, and then Susie goes back into Robert's book and Robert's into Susie's. Susie watches this operation, at first uninterestedly, but when he realizes what Buntu is up to, with growing alarm. When he is finished, Buntu pushes the two books in front of Susie, shaking his head emphatically. Yo, hi, no Buntu. It's a chance. Hi, hi, hi. It's your only chance. No Buntu. What it means that me, Sizwe Bansi, is dead. I'm not dead, friend. We banned this book, Susie's original, and Sizwe Bansi disappears off the face of the earth. What about the man we left lying in the alleyway? Tomorrow, the flying squad passes there and finds him. Check in his book. No passbook. Mounts Road mortuary. After 3 days, nobody has identified him. Popper's burial. Case closed. And then, tomorrow, I'll contact my friend Norman at Feltex. He's the boss baby there. I tell him about another friend, Robert Zolinzima, book in order, who's looking for a job. You roll up later. Hand over the book to the white man. Who does Robert Zolinzima look like? You. Who gets the pay on Friday? You, man. What about all that shit at the labor bureau? Buntu. You don't have to go there. This chap had a work seeker's permit, Susie. All you do is hand over the book to the white man. He checks at the labor bureau. They check with their big machines. Robert Zolinzima has the right to be employed and stay in this town. I don't want to lose my name, Buntu. You mean you don't want to lose your bloody passbook? You love it? Hey, Buntu, I cannot lose my name. Leaving the table. All right, I was only trying to help. As Robert Zolinzima, you could have stayed and worked in this town. As Sizwe Bansi, start walking, friend. King Williamstown, 150 miles. And don't waste any time. You've got to be there by yesterday. Hope you enjoy it. Buntu. Lots of scenery in 150 miles. Buntu. Maybe a better idea is to wait until they pick you up. Save yourself all that walking. Into the train with the escorts. Smart stuff. Hope it's not too crowded though. Hell of a lot of people being kicked out, I hear. Buntu. But once you're back, sit down on the side of the road next to your pondok with your family. The whole Bansi clan on leave. For life. Hey, that sounds okay. Watching all the cars passing. And as you say, friend, cough your bloody lungs out with Siskian independence. Now really desperate. Buntu? What you waiting for? Go. Buntu. What? What about my wife Noweto? What about her? Her loving husband, Sizwe Bansi, is dead. So what? She's going to marry a better man. Who? You, Robert Zolinzima, thoroughly confused. How can I marry my wife, Buntu? Get her down here and I'll introduce you. Don't make jokes, Buntu. Robert, Susie, I'm all mixed up. Who am I? A fool who is not taking his chance. And my children? Their father is Sizwe Bansi. They are registered at school under Bansi. Are you really worried about your children, friend? Or, wake up man, use that book, and with your pay on Friday, are you just worried about yourself and your bloody name? You will have a real chance to do something for them. I'm afraid. How do I get used to Robert? How do I live as another man's ghost? Wasn't Sizwe Bansi a ghost? No. No? When the white man looked at you at the labor bureau, what did he see? A man with dignity or a bloody passbook with an NI number? Isn't that a ghost? The white man sees you walk down the street and calls out, Hey John, come here. To you, Sizwe Bansi, isn't that a ghost? Or when his little child calls you boy, you a man, circumcised with a wife and 4 children, isn't that a ghost? Stop fooling yourself. All I'm saying is, be a real ghost, if that is what they want, what you have turned us into. Spook into hell, man. Susie is silent. Bunzu realizes his words are beginning to reach the other man. He paces quietly, looking for his next move. He finds it. Suppose you try my plan. Friday, rough casting section at Feltex. Paytime, line of men, non-skilled laborers, white man with a big box full of pay packets. John Carney. Yes, sir. Pay packet is handed over. Thank you, sir. Another one. Buntu reads a name on an imaginary pay packet. Weston and Shona. Pay packet over. Thank you, sir. Another one. Faz Bokulani. Here is Egg, my boss. Pay packet over. Danki. My boss. Another one. Robert Zolenzema. No response from Susie. Robert Zolenzema. Yes, sir. Handing him the imaginary pay packet. Open it. Go on. Takes back the packet. Tears it open. Empties its contents on the table and counts it. 5, 10, 11, and 99 cents in your pocket. Buntu again spaces quietly, leaving Susie to think. Eventually, Saturday, man in overalls, 12 rand, 99 cents in back pocket, walking down Main Street looking for sales house, finds it and walks in. Salesman comes forward to meet him. I've come to buy a suit. Salesman is friendly. Certainly. Won't you take a seat? I'll get the forms. I'm sure you want to open an account. Sir, 6 months to pay. But first, I'll need all your particulars. Buntu has turned the table, with Susie on the other side, into the imaginary scene at sales house. Pencil poised, ready to fill a form. Your name, please. Sir. Playing along uncertainly. Robert Zolenzema. Writing. Robert Zolenzema. Address. 50 Mapija Street. Where do you work? Feltex. And how much do you get paid? 12. 12 rand 99 cents. NI number, please. Susie hesitates. Your identification number, please. Buntu abandons the act and picks up Robert Zolenzema's passbook. He reads out the number. NI 3811863. Bend that into your head, friend. You hear me? It's more important than your name. NI number 38811118663. Again 38811118663. Picking up his pencil and returning to the role of the salesman. NI number, please. Pausing frequently, using his hands to remember. 3811863. Abandoning the act. Good boy. He paces. Susie sits and waits. Sunday. Man in a sales house suit, hat on top, going to church, hymn book and Bible under arm, sits down in the front pew. Priest in there. Buntu jumps onto a chair and his new role. Susie kneels. The time has come. Amen. Pray, brothers and sisters. Pray. Now. Amen. The Lord wants to save you. Hand yourself over to Him while there is still time, while Jesus is still prepared to listen to you. Carried away by what He is feeling. Amen. Jesus. Be careful, my brothers and sisters. Hallelujah. Be careful, lest when the big day comes and the pages of the big book are turned, it is found that your name is missing. Repent before it's too late. Hallelujah. Amen. Will all those who have not yet handed in their names for membership of our burial society please remain? Buntu leaves the pulpit and walks around with a register. Name. Please, sir. Number. Thank you. Good afternoon, sister. Your name, please. Address. Number. God bless you. He reaches Susie. Your name, please. Brother. Robert Zolenzima. Address 50 Mapija Street. NI number. Again, tremendous effort to remember. 3811863. They both relax. After pacing for a few seconds, same man leaving the church, walking down the street. Buntu acts out the role while Susie watches. God bless you, Mr. Bansi. May you always stay within the Lord's mercy. Greetings, Brother Bansi. We welcome you into the flock of Jesus with happy spirits. God bless you, Brother Bansi. Stay with the Lord. The devil is strong. Suddenly, Buntu has moved to behind Susie. He grabs him roughly by the shoulder. Police! Susie stands up frightened. Buntu watches him carefully. No, man, clean your face. Susie adopts an impassive expression. Buntu continues as a policeman. What's your name? Robert Zolenzima. Where do you work? Feltex. Book. Susie hands over the book and waits while the policeman opens it. Look at the photograph, then Susie, and finally checks through a stamp and endorsement. While all this is going on, Susie stands quietly, looking down at his feet, whistling under his breath. The book is finally handed back. Okay. Sizwe takes his book and sits down. After a pause, I'll try it, Buntu. Of course you must, if you want to stay here. Yes, but Sizwe Bansi is dead. What about Robert Zolenzima then? That poor bastard I pissed on out there in the dark. So he's alive again. Bloody miracle, man. Look, if someone was to offer me the things I wanted most in my life, the things that will make me, my wife and my child happy, in exchange for my name Buntu, you think I wouldn't swoop? Are you sure, Buntu? Examining the question seriously. If there was just me, if I was alone, if I didn't have anyone to worry about or look after except myself, maybe then I'll be prepared to pay some sort of price for a little pride. But if I had a wife and 4 children, wasting away their one and only life in the dust and poverty of Siskian independence, if I had 4 children waiting for me, their father, to do something about their lives, no, Sizwe, Robert, Buntu. Oh, all right, Robert, John, Athol, listen, shit on names, man. To hell with them. If in exchange, you can get a piece of bread for your stomach and a blanket in winter. Understand me, brother. I am not saying that pride isn't a way for us. What I'm saying is, shit on our pride if we only bluff ourselves that we are men. Take your name back, Sizwe Bansi, if it's so important to you. But next time you hear a white man say John to you, don't say Ja, boss. And next time the bloody white man says to you, a man, boy, come here, don't run to him and lick his ass like we all do. Face him and tell him, white man, I'm a man. Ag, kag, we are bluffing ourselves. It's like my father's hat, special hat, man, carefully wrapped in plastic on top of the wardrobe in his room. God help the child who so much as touches it. Sunday, it goes on his head, and a man, full of dignity, a man I respect, walks down the street. White man stops him. Come here, Kafir. What does he do? Buntu whips the imaginary hat off his head and crumples it in his hand as he adopts a frowning several pose in front of the white man. What is it, boss? If that is what you call pride, then shit on it. Take mine and give me food for my children. Pause. Look, brother, Robert Zolenzima, that poor bastard out there in the alleyway. If there are ghosts, he is smiling tonight. He is here with us and saying, good luck, Susie. I hope it works. He's a brother's man. For how long, Buntu? How long? For as long as you can stay out of trouble. Trouble will mean police station. Then fingerprints off to Prestoria to check on previous convictions. And when they do that, Sizwe Bansi will leave again and you will have had it. Buntu, you know what you're saying? A black man stay out of trouble? Impossible, Buntu. Our skin is trouble. Warily, You said you wanted to try. Wearily, you said you wanted to try. And I will. Picks up his coat. I'm tired, Robert. Good luck. See you tomorrow. Exit Buntu. Sizwe picks out the passbook, looks at it for a long time, then puts it in his back pocket. He finds his walking stick, newspaper and pipe, and moves downstage in a solitary light. He finishes the letter to his wife. So Noweto, for the time being, my troubles are over. Christmas I come home. In the meantime, Buntu is working a plan to get me a lodger's permit. If I get it, you and the children can come here and spend some days with me in Port Elizabeth. Spend the money I am sending you carefully. If all goes well, I'll send you some more each week. I do not forget you, my dear wife. Your loving husband, Sizwe Bansi. As he finishes the letter, Susie returns to the pose of the photo. Styles Photographic Studio. Styles is behind the camera. Hold it, Robert. Hold it just like that. Just one more. Now smile. Robert, smile. Smile. Camera flash and blackout. The end.